Hi everyone, it's Monica and welcome to another video for my Christmas in July series. Well, today I'm here to share with you my latest passport kit, and this kit is called Special Delivery Christmas. And I'm working with some of my favorite colors. Red is my favorite color, and I love the real red, not necessarily the orange red. So it's always fun to create Christmas cards as well as Valentine's Day cards because that is my favorite color. And what I'm working with today, like I said, is my passport kit, which is essentially a theme kit. So the theme is going to have matching paper, matching ephemera, and a whole kit where you can create Christmas cards or Christmas projects. But what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to create my signature passport card. And this is a 3-page fold type of a card, and it's an A2 card, so it fits perfectly into a A2 envelope, and it makes a really fun Christmas card. And it's perfect for gift cards as well, because as you see, it's going to have a little pocket where you can stick a gift card. But what I typically do will stick my ephemera pieces in there, and it's like a whole gift in one. So I went ahead and I cut down my pieces so we can get started in creating the base. Okay, so there's a couple of ways that you can actually approach this. You can cut down the base of the card first, or you can score first. For this video, I went ahead and I scored it. I've made hundreds of these passport cards, so I've kind of got it memorized. And I tend to go in different orders when I'm putting it together, but I'll go ahead and I'll try to keep it in somewhat of an order for you, and I'll give you the dimensions as we go along. So your score line is going to be at 2 3/4. So figure out the lengthwise of your card, and then you want to score it at 2 3/4. Now, if you are the type of person that like to trim first, your dimensions are going to be 7 inches wide and 5.5 inches long. And then once you get it cut out, you're going to score with the layout being 7 inches wide. You're going to score at 2 3/4. So like I said, I went ahead and I scored first and then I trimmed second, but you can approach this either way. You just want to end up with a card. Once it's folded at your score line, your card is going to measure 5.5 by 4. So that should pretty much get you where you need to be. And then once you do your initial score, you want to rotate your card right, and you're going to score again at about 3.5. And this is going to be the score line that you're going to actually trim, because remember, you want to have a card that has 3 layers. So this is what I'm doing here. I went ahead and I am rotating the card to the right, and then I'm going to score at about 3.5. Now, for my particular card, I scored right at that diamond that you see, or half a diamond, I should say. But 3.5 is about where you want to be. And then once you have your score lines, you can go ahead and you can trim it. Now, as you can see, I stopped my score line right at that at the vertical score that we did initially. So that will give you your first page once you have it trimmed. And then what I usually do is I will round my corners. Now, you can choose to round your corners as you go along, which is what I typically do, or you can round your corners at the end. It really makes no difference. The only difference that it may make is when you round your corner for your second page, because you are going to round the corner that ends up getting attached to the card. So you may want to round your corner on that first, so that way you have room to put your tool. And as you can see, I'm not rounding the corner at the bottom edge. You want that to be more of a right angle. So keep that in mind as well when you're rounding your corners. All right, so for the second page, you're going to want to pick some of the contrasting designer paper. Ordinarily, when I have my pages, my front page, my first page and my last page typically will match. And then my second page I kind of use as a matching or coordinating cardstock. And for this one, we're going to go ahead and use the red cardstock with the white snowflakes. So your dimensions on this are going to be, let's see, it's going to be long. It's going to be about 4 3/4 long. And then for the width, you want to go ahead and trim it at about 3 3/4. And this will give you room to score a 1/2 inch, because you're going to fold this over, and then this is what the fold is what you're going to use to attach it to the base of your card to create your second page. Now, the glue that I typically will use to adhere my second page is the 3-in-1 Beacon, and this is a really good strong glue. So you can use your adhesive as well, but I find with a 3-in-1 Beacon that with this page being opened and closed, it's not going to come up. Sometimes if you use runner tape, it may come up because it's kind of an interactive card, I guess, because you're opening the pages back and forth. But the 3-in-1 Beacon, once it's dry, it's not going to move. So that's the glue that I decide to use. And as you can see, I just added some to the flap where I had scored, and I'm going to line it up right on the crease. Now you want to make sure that you do test your fold, because if you get it too close to that crease, then it's not going to fold over really nicely. And that's where the liquid glue comes in handy, because you can move it and adjust it if you need to. All right, now for covering the inside of the pages, I know for you people that like to trim before you actually go, but typically I'll just find the cardstock that I want to use, and I will just kind of put it up against the page that I'm going to cover, and I will outline it, and then that's when I take it to the trimmer. And knowing that I want it to be a little bit have some edges, so some of the white I want to show on the card, I'll trim it a little bit shorter than my trim lines, so that way I do have a little bit of a border on my card. Now if you want your white cardstock to be completely covered, then of course you're gonna go ahead and trim it exactly on your score lines, but I like some white to show on my borders of my card, and I'll do that for both the back panel as well as the front panel and the inside panel. Now, don't get ahead of yourself when you're actually creating the back panel, because we're going to add a pocket. And this is the pocket that I talked about that would be great for a gift card. It's just a little pocket, and typically I use the pocket to tuck some of my ephemera pieces in there. But it certainly could be used for a gift card as well. And this also will be the time to add any pieces that may require brads. When I start decorating my card, I use my ephemera pieces, so I don't have to use any brads. But on the top, if you want to put like a little metal embellishment or a little label that will require brads, you want to do that before you actually adhere your pocket page to the base of your card. So I'm just kind of going through my ephemera pieces here to figure out exactly what piece I want to use for my pocket. And ultimately, I did decide to go ahead and use the coordinating red snowflake paper. And your dimensions on this are going to be the length of your page. So however much you trimmed that page, you want it to be, that's the length, or I should say the width. So the width of your page. So however much you trimmed your pocket page, you want it to obviously match that for your pocket. And then for the length of it, it's going to be about 2 inches. So if you end up being a little bit longer, certainly you can trim it, but you don't want to be shorter than the 2 inches for your pocket, because you are going to be adding some adhesive, and you want to make sure you have a nice deep pocket to add whatever you decide to add. All right, so once you have your pocket glued in place, then another thing that I like to do just to give it a little extra strength is I like to add washi tape to the top border of my pocket, and I like to wrap it around the pocket base, and this will just give it a little extra strength. Remember, this is a pocket, so you're going to be taking things and putting them in and taking them out, so it will create a little bit of wear on that pocket, and you want to make sure that it doesn't tear or come up, and that little extra washi tape is always nice. Plus, it's a nice added feature. It's always fun to add washi tape to any project just to give it a little extra interest. So I just picked some washi tape that I happen to have on my desk, and it had some red in it, so I thought it would look good. And I went ahead and I added it right to the top part of the pocket. And as you can see, I have extra, so I can fold it over to create that extra strength. All right, so once you have your washi tape adhered, and you want to go ahead and take your paper rounder or your corner rounder, and you're going to round your corners to match the base of your card. And then again, you're just going to come in and take your adhesive. I'm using the 3-in-1 beacon, and you're going to add it to the back of your pocket page, and you're going to adhere it to the base of your card. Now, if you did decide to cut it a little bit shorter than the base of your card so you can leave some white borders, just want to make sure that you maneuver your page so that way it's right in the middle and you have some nice even borders all the way around. And again, keeping in mind that this is a folding card, you want to make sure that your pages will fold and close nicely. So if you have to maneuver that page to give it a little bit more page turning room, go ahead and do that as well. And you're going to continue this process to cover both the inside of your second page as well as the inside of your last page. And if you want to add a pocket, you can certainly do that. Typically, I will add my pocket to the back page, but there is no rules for making a passport card. Just make it to fit your need. That's the one thing that I love about these cards is you can change them up, especially when you have lots of different matching ephemera. You don't have to make every passport card look exactly the same. So change it up, have some fun with it. Figure out if you want pockets on the different sides of the pages. Maybe you want to use that back page to have a note to Santa because there's a really nice piece of ephemera in this kit to have a list for Santa, and maybe you want to have that on the back of your page. So just have some fun with it and decide what is going to work for you. Taking in mind, you want to just trim down these pages to mat nicely on your inside pieces. All right, so once you have your inside pieces completely decorated with your cardstock, now it's time to add some of the fun embellishments. And honestly, you guys, this is my favorite part because this is where you can make each card a little bit different. And you don't necessarily have to stick to the kit. I pulled out some of my Tim Holtz ephemera pieces, and I decided to add some of these fun little labels to my card because they match so well. And you know, you can find any of these Christmas pieces because you're going to probably find some that have red and white in it, so it will match the kit really nicely. And as you can see, for the front of my page, the very first page, I decided to use that bicycle ad that was in my piece, and I added a 39-cent label as well. Certainly would have been fun to buy a bicycle back then for 39 cents, but it probably was a little bit more expensive than that. But it's certainly fun to put some of these old vintage type of price labels on them. And I just went ahead and I just continued to decorate. You can add some little note pieces to your cards as well. If you want to write a little handwritten note, you can add that to the second page as well. Or you can stick the little note in your pocket tuck. There's just lots of ways you can go with this. So I hope that you've enjoyed my newest passport kit called Special Delivery Christmas. And as an added bonus, I'm going to go ahead and give away 3 of these kits. So all you need to do is leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of the new kit. And I'll use your comments to draw 3 of you to win this kit, and I'll announce it in one of the videos coming this month. So as always, I'll leave a list of all the products that I've used to create this card along with the links to the store. And if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up. I'll be back in a few days with another video for my Christmas in July series. All right, everybody, thanks so much for stopping by, and we'll see you again next time.